Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are in a 2025 Mazda CX-70 Turbo S Premium Plus. Please excuse my crackly voice as I'm recovering from a cold. Good thing this thing has heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Mazda provided this CX-70 for review. I was really excited to experience this vehicle. I spent a week with the CX-90 Turbo S Premium Plus about a year ago and came away really impressed with what Mazda has done in this segment of large SUVs. I've always been impressed by Mazdas across the board: CX-30, CX-50, CX-5, even the manual Mazda 3 hatchback I drove recently, and of course the Miata. But of all of Mazda's non-enthusiast cars, the CX-70 was the most interesting to me before it was released. And that's because I thought it would fit size and price-wise in between the CX-50 and CX-90. But as we all know, that wasn't the case. The CX-70 is more or less just a CX-90 without a third row of seats. Of course, there's a little more to it than that. They package the interior a bit differently. Overall, you still get the same size vehicle, same engine, same transmission, same interior layout, and the same price. This fully loaded Turbo S Premium Plus has an MSRP with destination at just under $58,000. There is a wide variety of trims to choose from, and I think the base trim starts at just over $40,000. We're powered by a turbocharged straight-six engine. It's 3.3 liters in displacement, and it makes 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque with premium gas. You can put 87 octane in this, but the horsepower and torque figures will drop. We have an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission, double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear, which is very important for making a premium SUV feel very compliant, electric power steering, very nice interior and fully loaded trim. We have this really nice suede material across the dash. I love this tan leather contrast with the black and this brushed metal look on the doors. Very nice stitching on these door handles and very little use of piano black. Even in the center console here, they use a matte or brushed metal material, which just elevates the overall feeling of this vehicle. In my opinion, it does feel like a $70,000 to $80,000 SUV in here. This trim level comes with 21-inch wheels with 275/45 all-season tires. We have all the standard convenience features, including a hands-free power rear liftgate, auto-dimming side mirrors, heated and ventilated seats, 8-way power adjustable drivers and front passenger seats, although the driver's seat also comes with lumbar adjustment, with 2 memory settings for your seating position, which includes the steering wheel and side mirrors, and all the safety features as well in terms of driving aids and the 360-degree camera. So let's take this thing for a drive and see how this fares on bumpy Houston roads. I should say we're in the suburbs, so the roads aren't as bad, but still a bit bumpier than what I'm used to in the Bay Area. All right, so on the road with the CX-70 Turbo S Premium Plus, first impressions, it's a very premium feeling SUV with one caveat. So let me talk you through what I really enjoy about this car first. First of all, class leading steering feel. I really mean that. And I think that applies to basically every product in Mazda's lineup right now. Really good on-center feel for a nearly 5,000 pound vehicle. Very little slop just off center. It loads up nicely when you're taking corners, even at normal speeds. I'm not going to be pushing this car, but I enjoy this steering rack even just driving around town. And like right there, going over some of the bumps and cracks in the road, you actually get feedback, real feedback about the road surface through the wheel. Outside of Mazda, I have not experienced another brand new SUV that has such good steering feel. You can even see it on camera jiggling around as I go over imperfections on the road. I love that. The steering is also quite heavy in terms of the effort required to get it turned. So that might be a slight turnoff for some buyers, but for me, it's a major plus. It makes me feel engaged. I'm not just driving another lifeless, totally disconnected SUV here. Here's the other thing I love. This straight-six engine. It makes a really satisfying sound. Not like your typical 4-cylinder turbocharged engine or V6 that you find in most SUVs nowadays in this price range or lower. This is just really nice and refined. You get that straight-six silky smoothness while getting plenty of power plenty of low-end torque. Just a very nice engine for this size of vehicle. And that was one thing that really excited me about the prospect of a smaller SUV, something between the CX-50 and CX-90 that still got this engine. Because even though I really like the CX-50, the engine is a bit lifeless in my opinion. The other thing I love about this car is the chassis tuning. But it's both a pro and a con, because on the one hand, this actually offers really good body control and a surprisingly firm ride, which is great if you like driving, but as a passenger, that's where it becomes potentially a little bit of a negative. It's certainly no deal breaker, but I do think compared to something like a Toyota Highlander, this might ride a little bit harsher than your passengers might expect. But to be honest, I think it's quite minor. I think the average person would have no issues with the ride comfort. This is a hybrid powertrain, by the way, so we are looking at somewhere around 25 miles per gallon in mixed driving. I've been averaging 24.5 over the last week, which is decent. Because it is a mild hybrid powertrain, you do get a little bit of added efficiency, although it's not what you'd perhaps want from a more sophisticated hybrid SUV. Road and wind noise are very low. The sound insulation is impressive. Overall, the interior is very well built, although there is a slight rattle from the back seat. I'm not sure where that's from. I haven't looked into it, but this car has just under 10,000 miles, so I would have expected it to be silent. This widescreen display, which comes standard on the Premium Plus, is very easy to read, very crisp, excellent colors and black levels. You can use it as a touchscreen, but as you can see, Mazda does give you two options, but the primary option is still going to be the rotary system. The Bose audio system is very good, although the bass tuning is quite heavy, which is basically like every other Bose system I've ever experienced. There's no really one aspect of this car that in my opinion is a major weakness, and that's what I really appreciated about the CX-90 as well. It's just so well rounded. Mazda's attention to detail in their recent lineup of vehicles has been just superb. Everything from interior fit and finish, even just the styling of the interior and the usability, all of these physical buttons for your climate controls, very, very easy to use. A dedicated screen here with just the right amount of information and nothing more, nothing less, which is completely separate from your infotainment. It just works so, so well. The seating position is also perfect. I actually feel like I'm in a proper cockpit, which is unusual for this size of SUV. Visibility out the front, the sides, the back is excellent. And if you want to, you can use the bird's eye view camera. We have cameras on the front and rear bumpers as well. And this vehicle can tow up to 5,000 pounds, which is pretty par for the course for this class. It's a unibody SUV, not a body on frame, so you're not going to get insane towing capacity, but 5,000 pounds for most people is going to be more than adequate. If I really wanted to, I could probably tow a lightweight sports car to the track if I had a lightweight aluminum trailer. Brake feel is really good as well. Nice progressive pedal with just enough initial bite. There is one small quibble I have with driving this car at low speed from a stop sign or a red light. It does get a little bit jerky at times, and I think that's potentially down to the hybrid system. This engine redlines at around 6,000 RPM, and it just feels so good, so smooth. Makes a good sound when you rev it out, but it's also quiet when you're just cruising. Like cruising RPM right now at 41 miles per hour is literally 1,000 RPM. I can't even really hear the engine, and that's what I want. In a premium feeling SUV that's focused on driving dynamics, I want that dual personality. I don't want it to ride ultra stiff and be super loud like something like an X5M or X6M, for example. Obviously, that's a totally different price category. It's not shouty like those BMW M products. I would actually love to compare this to something like a base X5 with a 6-cylinder engine. I know that's still going to be priced quite a bit higher than this, but it might be a really good comparison to see if Mazda does the X5 better than BMW. Even if maybe they don't, is this a really good budget option. For significantly less money, are you getting 90+% of the experience? I'm inclined to think probably yes. And with the CX-70, since it is a 2-row, the second row has plenty of space, legroom, headroom, and the trunk is cavernous. It is really, really big back there because there's no third row. Of course, in the CX-90, you can fold the rear seats flat, I believe, but if you don't need that third row of seats, which is quite cramped for adults, the CX-70 is a good option. You get plenty of cargo capacity. I know some people don't really like the bulbous rear end, especially in the upper half of the vehicle, but I think it gives this vehicle a real presence to it. It has that large stature, but at the same time, it's curvy. It doesn't look like every other boxy SUV on the road, like that 4Runner right there, for example. This looks a lot more svelte and luxurious and less like an appliance. But now I'm curious, since I've only driven the top trim Turbo S Premium Plus of both this car and the CX-90, I wonder how the middle trims feel. Like the Turbo, which uses the same engine, but it makes 60 fewer horsepower, 280 horsepower. I think this one has just the right amount of power. I'm curious if 280 feels a bit underpowered. Also, listen to these turn signals. I've always loved Mazda turn signals. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with that, but I am, and I love it. But yeah, I think the middle trims might be the sweet spot here. Even though this Turbo S Premium Plus is very nice, in the $50,000 range rather than closer to $60,000, that might be an even more competitive price point for this vehicle if you get most of the same build quality, features, and tech. Before we wrap up here, there is one other minor quibble I have with the latest Mazdas in general, which is their driving aids just aren't up to par with, say, Honda or Acura. This does have radar cruise control, but the lane centering doesn't work nearly as well. On the freeway, I find myself having to give it a lot more steering input than I do in my Acura Integra Type S, for example. And the driving aids are quite sensitive. The lane departure warning does beep at you quite aggressively if you're even just slightly veering out of your lane. So that's one area of improvement for Mazda, but other than that, this is about as close to a perfectly well-rounded sub $60,000 SUV as I think exists on the market right now. So big shout out to Mazda. Let me know what you think of the CX-70. What are this car's true competitors if you want a sort of pseudo luxury or full luxury, full-sized SUV, but you don't want to break the bank? Sub $60,000 brand new. What are the top choices out there? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.